Welcome to All Bass No Bull with JT and Rob G.
What's up? Thanks for
We had a
having
little
me
te-
on.
we had a little technical difficulty there at the intro. We'll blame that on Ricky.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he started the live after it happened, so he might be in the clear.
It could be. I think it's live 35 seconds now, but we'll see. So how you been, buddy? Besides catching giant bass that I saw that picture of.
Yeah, I've been catching a few. This past week we had a big, huge snowstorm in Tennessee, our first one of the year, or probably our only one of the year, and it kind of shut down everything. It snows about once or maybe twice a year here, and whenever it does, everything shuts down. Everybody stays in their house like it's COVID. So, I mean, basically the past, I don't know, 5 days, I've just been tinkering with tackle and getting new rods out and getting ready. I'm headed to Florida to go pre-practice for St. John's and Okeechobee tomorrow. So that'll be good.
Nice. What is your take on Florida? You love Florida, hate Florida. It's a love-hate relationship with about every angler I talk to.
Yeah,
They either love it or they hate it.
Fan. Not a Florida fan at all. I'm a Tennessee Vol. I hate Florida in all aspects, pretty much. I mean, the only thing I like about it is it's warm. And you have a potential of catching like a 10-pounder, but I've literally never been down there and caught a 10-pounder. Texas is a place for me to catch a 10-pounder. I've figured, like, you know how a lot of people, I guess, like when they retire, they want to move down south to go. Texas is more my speed than Florida.
I think I remember you last year in Lake Fork, though, rolling up to you on the water and you going, I can't catch a stupid bass, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that I spun out really bad on
Yeah,
that.
I didn't even know what to tell you there. I didn't know what to tell you. I was like, you were in your own head, you were spun out, you were right out in the middle there in them trees, and it's like we can't say anything to you anyway, so we can just like snap some photos, shoot some video, and say good luck.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was bad. That was the one day all year that I spun out. And I mean, it pretty much, if you do the math, if I would have top 30 that tournament, I would have won Angler of the Year. But I just spun out so bad and got 87th. And that's what cost me, 50 or so points. And I would have, like, in that tournament, day two, I had 27 pounds. So, like, it wasn't like I couldn't catch anything out there. Like, I don't know what it was. I think it was just the fishing for my first ever 4-day back-to-back tournament at Toledo Bend in my first ever Elite Series tournament, getting the top 10, fourth place, doing well, being on like the winning fish, then having to turn around and practice on Lake Fork for 2 days, which has way less bass. And I don't know, I just wasn't dialed in. I wasn't zoned in. I wish I could really just go back in time and relive that. Because I mean, if I could relive those 2 weeks, I feel like I would have won Toledo because I wouldn't have been so nervous. That's the only reason. I feel like I was on the winning fish that tournament. I mean, obviously, Vegeta won that tournament on my spot, like on the last day. Like, not my spot, my big creek area I was fishing in. And he had saved it for the last day, but he didn't know I was fishing there the first 3 days. You know what I mean? And like if I would have fished there the whole time, I probably would have caught 30 every day. But just me being a rookie and first tournament jitters, I had to bounce around to get, go to my first spot to where I would feel good and catch some fish and get, settled down. So I don't know. I wish I could relive those first 2 tournaments bad because I feel like
the old shoulda, woulda, coulda type of thing that'll haunt you for the next 50 years of your professional bass tournament, career.
Mm-hmm.
What like you're talking about the nerves and stuff like that, like going into, you're a rookie, so I want, ex-rookie, you got that rookie year out of the way, but like going into that, who did you fear or intimidated or just like, man, I can't believe I'm fishing with these guys that I've looked up to? I mean, who kind of was on your radar in that scope of things at your very first event this year?
I mean, pretty much all the guys, all the guys that have been there for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, every single one of those guys. Like, obviously Rick Clunn and Hackney and those guys, but even like the Christie and Lee Livesey and Jordan Lee, like those guys too. I mean, I've always been a huge bass fishing fan, and I watched, like, before this year. I didn't watch them this year like I usually have, but I'd watch every day of live pretty much as I could, dating back to high school. Like I would be sitting in class watching live, like the first. I think I was in high school when live came out. You know what I mean? And that was super cool. So, but you know what I mean? Like, so I knew all the guys, and I'd been looking up to them, kind of, you know what I mean? So it was just kind of surreal. That first tournament, got backed in and looked around. I was like, holy crap, I'm about to throw up. I can't believe I'm about to off against all these guys. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I had some imposter syndrome at that moment, you know? Like, I just felt like I didn't belong until I got out there and started fishing.
So what's it like for other rookies, like coming in to weigh in your first bag on that Bass Elite stage and walk out there and have Mercer reading off all the stats of the opens that you, because Mercer's like an encyclopedia. The dude knows everything, never looks at a teleprompter. He just knows everything. So what was that like of like stepping on that stage for the first time? That
was so cool. I mean, I'll never forget it because, I mean, my first day on the Elite Series, I caught 30 pounds. Like I had a 30, or not 30, I had like 29.11 or something like that. Like
very close to a dirty 30.
I was in second place on my first day, after my first day of the Elites. Like, it was just unbelievable. I didn't think I could even do that going out there. Like, I thought my max was like 23, 24, you know what I mean? But just things happened, and then getting in there to the weigh-in, like, you know, little me, like, holy crap, I just dropped a mega bag, carrying it up there, put it in the you know, the tanks. And then everybody's looking around, and you could tell, like, some of the old guys, they were just like, this dang rookie.
You went from fearing them to now you're hating.
Live scoper, look at this mega bag he's bringing in. Oh, my gosh. Like, but, yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. And Toledo Bend, there was a bunch of fans there. It was like dang Bonnaroo. There was thousands of people there. And I don't know. I felt like Ricky Bobby when I got on stage. I was just like, didn't know what to do with my hands. I was so nervous, but you know, after the season went on a little bit, I got more comfortable with it.
What was your favorite event out of the whole entire year? I mean, you know, it was your rookie year. Like what was just like, man, that was just awesome.
Toledo was up there. I mean, obviously that just
first one ever
talked about, first one ever, and all that going on. But Champlain was also, you know, really fun. That's the one, another one I feel like I should have won. And like, just had one of them bad mistakes on the very end of the day on day 4, where I left my good area where I could have easily won the tournament at to try to go catch more than what I needed. And it just didn't pan out. But I blasted it on that tournament. And like, I just overcame so much during that week. Because the night before the tournament, I got the stomach virus and literally I didn't sleep all night. Like I literally didn't sleep a wink. I was up just throwing up all night long, like in the toilet. Like it was horrible. So then just getting out there the next day so sick and catching like 21.5 pounds. And I didn't even fish but like hardly 3/4 of the day because after I would catch one, I would have to like regroup. I couldn't drink any water, so I was so weak and so thirsty. Like I had to just sit there and like breathe just to like regroup because I couldn't like sit down and have a sip of water. I would throw it back up immediately. It was one of those bad stomach viruses. And I just had to sit there and like wait it out. But I just wish that day, I wish I hadn't got sick that day, honestly, because I could have probably caught a bigger bag, but I would have been more locked in. But that tournament was just fun. Like day 4, I probably caught 50 bass. Like I was using like some minnows on the jig head minnow, and I think they come in like 8 in a pack, and I went through like 11 bags or 6 or 7 in a pack. Yeah, like I caught like 60 fish. It was so fun.
Win or lose, those are just good days no matter what.
Yeah, it was just like Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just fun. Like, I couldn't do no wrong, and I was just blasting them. Like, it was just reeling them in.
Like as a videographer and photographer and guys, covering these events, there was nothing like for us like Lake Fork. I mean, just watching 7 and 8 pounders come over the rail just left and right, and then going the rest of the year, and you might see a 3 or 4 pounder, some 5 pounders. It was nuts. It was like everybody we rolled up on was about ready to break a dirty 30. It was crazy.
Except me.
You were on day 2.
Yeah, but they won no.
No.
I was in the mix, though, of all the dirty 30s. Like the 3 guys that were fishing around me all caught over 30.
Yeah, that's why we didn't stay very long with you. We're like, okay, I could tell you were spun out. Like, all right, we'll just kind of leave you be. I mean, we probably should have stayed there and just tried to make you laugh or something and got you in a different, mindset or whatever. Yeah. But it's one of those things where you don't know. I mean, I've been out there on the water, and you can tell when it's time to leave somebody, let them go, or hang around and kind of make them joke, laugh, do whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all good. I
just wish are you traveling with the same 4 guys this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice. I think you have a little something to add to that. I think you're going to what can
the
guys expect from you this year?
Do what now?
I said you have something added, I think, to tell the viewers, maybe a cameraman or something.
Yeah, we got Jacob Harden on board. He's my cameraman this year. Last year we had one cameraman, Jack, who was Logan's. Logan paid for him, but he filmed us all. And now I felt like we received enough, comments and everything on his YouTube that, I needed to start my own, because that's pretty much what this industry is coming to, is getting your social media and your YouTube and all that. What's the word for it? Just like your socials and
it's your platforms.
Your platforms need to be more on camera. So that's what I figured I needed, and Jacob talked me into it pretty good. Like, you need a cameraman. I was like, yeah, you know what? I probably do. So I'm super pumped. First year on camera. I think it'll be good. I'm hoping to get big enough to where it won't even matter if I fish on the elites, I guess, or have my own TV show like Scott Martin. Like, that would be cool. Like, I'd love to turn it into something like that.
Well, you have the personality to make that happen.
I hope so.
I had my own hunting TV show years ago, so I was in that realm of it. It's as fun as you think, but it can be not as fun as you think too. It's just when it turns into a job. I talked to KVD a couple weeks ago. KVD just launched his new TV show, and he's super excited about it. I mean, the guy's been on every kind of TV show in the world could have, so it's about time he got his own and did his own thing. But yeah, I think it'll be. I mean, what can some of the viewers like? What do you want to bring to them? What do you want to show people about you and your crew this year that may be different from somebody else?
I don't know. I feel like it's just we're younger, we're just out of college, mid-20s guys. So it's kind of like a younger crew than some of the other crews that are on camera. You know what I mean? So you can kind of and we kind of joke around. I mean, obviously, but I kind of want it to be more of just like a day in the life, like a vlog or something. Like all these guys on YouTube that aren't even in the fishing industry, like they have so many subscribers and they're just videoing their daily lives, and I kind of want it to just be like real, you know what I mean? Like show people that I'm a real person and not just like reading off a script. If that makes sense. Like I'm on camera. Yeah, I'm on camera, but it's just a real person and documenting what they're doing. And that's kind of how I want it to be.
Nice. Well, I can't wait. I mean, I know I've watched all Logan's episodes with you guys, and it was something that you needed. You needed to have your own just to show that. And which kind of gets me, when people bring me onto a podcast or something about marketing or sponsorships or something like that, I'm always talking about platforms, social media, like what, if there's any young people that are looking in here, some high school anglers or something that are coming up, or those guys that are fishing the opens, like what can you say like that you learned from being that rookie to this year, like sponsorship wise, how did your sponsors change? Did you realize, man, I got to run this business? I'm now this, what I say is you are the CEO of your brand, you know? So I try to explain that to some people, and, you know, you're young, out of college and stuff like that. So what did you find? Was it as easy or harder than you thought? And, you know, what's it like on the back end of the sponsorship type deal?
Yeah, I definitely regret not starting, like, you know, trying to get my platforms up and ready and booming a lot faster. Like, I feel like Logan Parks, my roommate, he's done an exceptional job at it, especially like even in college. Like, he started his brand back then. So like it was easier for him to, you know, make phone calls before his rookie season and talk to sponsors and whatnot and like have contacts for that. Like, whereas I was like, I didn't set myself out there and make a big, huge platform of myself before I even made it. And I regret not doing that, because it would have, you know, it would just made it a lot easier if you have that platform and you make it on the elites or something like that. So then it'll just snowball. And I feel like that's one thing I had to learn this year, is how to like market myself and make my platform bigger and gain fans, you know, so to speak, with social media and putting myself on camera and stuff. Like, I feel like I'm decent on camera, but I never really like thought about even doing it. You know what I mean? I've always just kind of been more shy, even though you probably couldn't ever guess that, but I don't want to be like bragging and boastful, but like it's kind of how you have to be, like, or show, like you kind of have to show off.
Confident. That's what I tell people. There's a difference between cockiness or arrogance and confident. If you can carry yourself as being confident in your ability, your skills, and everything else, you portray yourself in a whole different light. And I think that's something I try to tell anybody that's, you know, really scared on camera or something. It's just having that confidence, because a lot of times we, you know, the old cameras used to have a red light. You'd let it know if I'm recording you, that red light was like, oh, the camera's on. We put tape over it just so you couldn't tell if we were running the camera or turning it on, you know. And your cameraman I happen to know him very well. So that's one of the things that we try to teach people, is just you're running the camera without them knowing 50% of the time, because that's when you capture those little golden nuggets of something funny or something educational, or, you know, just having a good time
to watch too. And I mean, I learned that this year, is just like, just be yourself and be confident in what you do on camera and on your social media platforms. I feel like I just didn't want to do that before, because I felt like I was being too cocky, but then I figured out, like, that's not how it is, unless you are being cocky. There's a difference, like you said.
Yeah, there are people. Yeah,
I definitely learned I feel like how to do it better this year, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, no, it's been fun watching that kind of stuff, you know. So what's it like on that, like, not just social media, but running yourself as a business? I mean, you know, like you said, you're taking on the responsibility of paying a cameraman this year out of your own pocket. You know, you're in your 20s and you're hiring an employee. I mean, you think about that. You're a professional bass angler, but you've hired an employee. Obviously scary. I mean, you know, but what's it like? I mean, just to sit down and just go with your gut and make that decision, because trying to teach some of the young guys out there what it's like, and prepare them to, you know, if this is their goal, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, I thought about it, like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, like not having a cameraman and just being on Logan's channel, my brand will never really grow to where I want it to be. Like, you got to take steps. Like, you can't just roll over and have Ben Milliken type followers and subscribers.
It took him over 10 years to do what he did.
Exactly. And he edited on his own. And I feel like if you have a great cameraman and great editing, it probably would have sped up the process if he had that from the beginning. And being in the shoes that I'm in already on the Elite Series, not just starting out of my fishing Fort Loudon night tournaments, trying to start my own channel, I feel like it was just a great business decision for me to do, to start my brand and start building my portfolio on broader, spectrums and channels, and just being more of a professional than a fisherman. Like adding the professional to the fisherman as my job title. You know what I mean? I feel like this year
that is awesome. I love the way you just said that. That is awesome.
Yeah, I felt like I was good at being a good angler, but I wasn't as good at being the professional part of the fisherman. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what I want to step up my game at.
Yeah, we hit the nail on the head when you said my brand. I mean, that's what you got to understand is it's not like you're a Yamamoto or you're a Phoenix boat or you're whatever. I mean, it's your brand, and you got to treat yourself as a brand. Like I said, you're the CEO, and you've got to make the decisions. You've got to run it. I talk about Sherry and KVD. That's one of the best things about them is that she's helping him run his business. There's some of those people that are in there are just awesome. But it's just one of those things, just cool to watch.
Sure.
Well, looks like we just got blasted with let's get some questions. So it looks like Ricky's putting it out there to get some questions coming in. But one of the things that, like what was your what I wrote down here is one of the things is like, what was the funniest thing that happened to you or that you guys did as a group this year on tour? Like what's a memory that's just like, man, that was just awesome?
Let me think on that.
You get up in there. You got to be PG with it too.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know. I'll try to think on another one, but the first one that comes to mind was, okay, so all four of us knew each other. Me, John, Garrett, Logan Parks, and Cody. We knew each other from college fishing, but we weren't like great buddies like we are now at the beginning of the year. Like this time last year, we weren't really that great of friends. We were just, we fished against each other and we were just kind of friends, kind of deal. So before we showed up to that first tournament at Toledo, we'd never, I guess John and Logan had, but me and Cody hadn't spent, or I guess Cody and John did. So I was kind of the outlier. Like I'd never traveled with them or stayed with them anywhere at any of these tournaments. So I was just coming into it like, oh my goodness, I don't know what these guys are like. This will be a good experience. At the first tournament at Toledo Bend, and obviously if you've been to Toledo, it's not the biggest town around. It's a huge giant lake, but Toledo town, like where people stay and like go
Small.
eat, there's like 2 restaurants and a grocery store and a gas station, and that's about it. So there's 2 restaurants, and they're both Mexican places. So that's what's on the menu if you're not cooking. So we had to go eat Mexican one night of practice, and this was on Louisiana side, and it's pretty south down there. So we got some good, good Mexican food, and a little bit spicier than what we got up here in Tennessee. So
I feel like I know where this is going.
Yeah, it lit me up pretty good. And I'd only stayed with these guys for 2 nights. And immediately when I got back, I blew up the toilet. We pretty much needed some dang caution tape over the door.
Oh.
And this was like my first impression on these guys. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of funny, like looking at
welcome to the house.
Yeah, looking back, like, dang, these guys, they have to like me now because, they put up with me all year after that. But another funny thing. We just had great times. Try to think.
Well, that's what was nice about, Logan doing that because, you watch everybody's channels and you kind of watch it, and it seemed like you guys never were down. Even though with any drama, with anything going on, your house, one of you might be a little down at something. You lost some fish or whatever, but the house was always pretty upbeat. And I
Yeah.
love seeing that. And I use that as an example all the time. I've, sent text messages, Logan, dude, I said, keep up the good work, and Jack as the cameraman has been doing a great job of,
Sure.
capturing that stuff. But I mean, I just thought that overall the positivity in there was just awesome. And I know Cody Huff can afford to do whatever he wants because he's taken like all of my money for years here at Table Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I told Cody I basically sponsored his this year with all the entry fees that I've donated to his winnings coming around the Ozarks here.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, he's so freaking good. It's not even funny. I'd say he's gonna win a time or two this year. He's due big time. I've been competing against him for a while, since the college days, and I mean, like some of the guys say this, like it's kind of a new trend, but he's him. You know what I mean? Like he's him for sure, and people don't really realize that. I don't think, but he really is. I mean, all the guys I stay with are. I feel like we're a pretty good house for some young bucks, but
yeah,
we've had some good memories, and that's a good point you brought there. I feel like our morale is always high because we enjoy being around each other. You know what I mean? Like we don't have any ill will toward each other, and we just like the camaraderie. Kind of brings us back to college fishing, so I think it helps out the stress. And
like you said, you kind of fed off each other, and and one of the things that like I've talked to numerous people, like traveling with each other. I don't think other people see how much you guys do help each other behind the scenes too. I mean, you're not saying, hey man, exactly go here to this waypoint, but you're like, man, I'm catching them on here. I'm catching them on Chunk Rock. I mean, you guys literally, help each other out, man. If one of you is struggling, you're there to pick your guys up, and that's what makes it kind of a strong house.
Exactly. That's what really I think helped us all this year, is just having, like, if we were down in practice, not getting any bites, we could call another guy and they would bounce some ideas off of us and off one of us, and something would stick eventually. And that's kind of how our whole year went. It's like one of us wasn't catching them, some other guy could teach him a little something, or give him something to look for, or a bait to even go and try, and then he could put the pieces to his own puzzle together. And I feel like that's a really good part about what our house brings to one another. So I'm still trying to think about a funny story. We've got a bunch. I just kind of my brain went haywire for a second. Let's think. I feel like that this is a funny story. Honestly, it involves the bathroom again. I mean, I'm sorry, people listening, if you're queasy.
Seeing a trend here.
But like I was talking about earlier at Champlain, I got the stomach virus. And that first day was horrible. I didn't sleep and was in the bathroom all night. But so Cody Huff and his wife Kira and their daughter Esther got the stomach virus about day one, or probably the first day of practice. So they were quarantined to upstairs to their master bedroom, because Cody had his wife and daughter there, so that he got the big bedroom. And so they had their own bathroom, so they were just all in there. And we didn't see them for like the first night or two of practice, until like the last day Cody felt better, and it's like, man, that's terrible. So we go to bed. Tournament day is the next day. And I mean, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And I have to sprint downstairs. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I missed the toilet the first time. I almost made it. But the bathroom was downstairs, and I had my room upstairs. So I had to go down the steps. But I made it to the bathroom at least. So, I mean, just horrible. Like, that's when it all started, and horrible. And I had to clean it up. And me cleaning it up made it worse, and I had to do it again or whatever. So I get back to bed after I destroyed the bathroom, like clean it up and all that. Go back, try to fall asleep. I can't. My stomach's hurting too bad. And I hear somebody getting out of bed in the room next to me, and it turns out it's Logan. But I hear him like banging around, and then like the door opens and slams, and I hear just like footsteps running down the steps, like, and all I hear is like, it sounds like a water bucket just got poured on the dang steps. And I mean, thinking about it, it's hilarious because it's like I obviously heard him throw up, but me being in the state I was so sick. I don't know if you've ever been sick and seen someone throw up or hear someone throw up, but it sets off a chain reaction.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you want to as well. And Cody and his wife and his daughter had their bedroom locked, and that was the only other bathroom, while Logan was in the other bathroom after he just splattered all over the stairs. I'm like, all right, my mouth's watering. It's sweating. It's about to come. Like, I'm about to throw up. So I have to go to the window. I'm on the second floor. I have to go to the window, take out the screen door on the window. Like, I open the window and it's a screen. So I'm like, am I going to have to punch this out? And I find a way to open it real fast, like put it inside. And I mean, immediately, as soon as I remove that screen, I'm full blown, head out the window, just letting her rip. And the next morning after, I mean, we got to use the bathroom alternating the rest of the night. So that was the only time. The next morning when we woke up, I had literally just sprayed all over Kira, Cody Huff's wife's car. I mean, the whole front end, the windshield, it was horrible. Like, I just projectiled all over her, like from the second floor, all over her car. The wind, like, she had to go get a dang car wash. It was so bad she couldn't see out the dang windshield. But yeah, that was pretty hilarious. Think about it. Like,
well, to all of you viewers out there, remind me to never ask Rob G what his favorite memories were.
No, I thought you said funny memory.
We're seeing a pattern. We're seeing a pattern of the funniest memories of you guys on this tour. Is everybody getting sick? That's priceless.
That was the only
time
we
priceless. That's good video right there.
Crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, and I don't know if you saw in the videos, Jackie, he's the Texas Boat World guy that fixes the equipment on our he does the Texas Boat World guys. He's like their mechanic or whatever.
Yeah, their maintenance. Yep.
Their maintenance guy for the Texas Boat World. And so he comes and hangs out. He's from Japan. He comes and hangs out with us, and we've had some good times with him. He's, he's just Jackie. I mean, he's one of a kind. His name's like Suguru, but his American name is Jackie Chan. So he's a great guy.
Some of my favorite videos and stuff like that have been when Taco Edu was with Lee Livesey's group and Matt Robertson and that group, just because they lead Taco down a path that he shouldn't be.
Wait, it's Jackie's birthday?
Yeah, that's what Ricky just said. It's Jackie's birthday.
I'll have to text him.
Happy birthday, Jackie. That's
awesome. I think
awesome.
he just got back to America. He's been in Japan.
One of the questions I see over there was like, how has the relationships in the house changed? Like from beginning, obviously you were, due to like you guys seem to be, thick as thieves right now.
Yeah, like we're a lot closer than the beginning. And I feel like I'll call him out. Cody at the beginning, he didn't trust us rookies because me, John, and Logan from the very first tournament, I feel like we were kind of tight because we were all rookies, and there's a lot of drama in the sport about like older guys versus rookies, so we kind of felt like we needed to bond together. And Cody, at first, I don't know if he trusted us because he'd been doing it for a couple years, and he didn't want to but I feel like toward about halfway through the season, we got him lightened up, and he kind of shares a little bit more than what he did at the beginning. So I feel like we're real tight and kind of like just a band of brothers on the road.
He's a pretty quiet guy anyway. I mean, compared to like you and Logan and stuff like that, I mean, he's a little more reserved and a little more quiet.
For sure. But we got him. He's more comfortable with us now. for sure.
Let's go to another question. What is your go-to jig head?
So, my go-to jig head is one I personally make. It's just a handmade jig head. But there's some coming out soon that I think I might have a little, little imprint my knowledge into that are coming out and going to hit the shelf. So I'll let you know when those get dropped.
Maybe working with like a Jack, maybe working with Jack Dice or something on some of that stuff.
Yeah,
or?
maybe Jack Dice, and I'm also sponsored by Ryugi Hooks, so I think they might come out with something too. I don't know, one or the other. Potential.
Very nice. Next question. How are you feeling about this year's rookies?
Oh, they're freaking good. I mean, so I don't know how it works, but I feel like a couple of them shouldn't even be considered rookies.
They're not. We dug into that, like Cody Meyer and I think the Cody Bear.
Will they even be considered rookies? Like,
yeah, because they've made too much. They've made too much money and something like that, so they're not going to be. They cannot contend for Rookie of the Year.
Okay, that's honestly, I like that because they're not. I mean, they've won millions of dollars on the FLW and MLF, so I feel like they're just seasoned pros, seasoned veterans. So those guys are insane, and along with the other 7, or I guess it's 7, right? 7,
yeah, 9.
Yeah, they're all freaking good. I've had to compete against some of them before in college. Emil, Tucker, Paul Marks, and Evan Kung. I competed against him in the Opens last year. Who else? Oh, Loberg. He's good on the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. I mean, they're freaking good. So, they might be better than us. Who knows? Only time will tell.
It's true. Tell us more about the hooks.
Tell us more about the hooks. I'm a big tungsten fan for jig heads and jigs, honestly. Like if I'm dragging a jig and need to feel the bottom or like if I'm dragging something where I want to feel the bottom, it's always tungsten.
Yeah, you feel every little rock, every little crumble, every little thing on the bottom.
Yeah, like the only lead stuff I usually throw is if I'm flipping or
worm weight.
Yep.
Something like that. What events are you looking the most forward to this year?
This year, this schedule, I don't know. I can't really remember. But I feel like every year I'm either not really excited about the schedule and it just turns out being okay. But this year I'm just like, I'm not a huge tidal fishery, and I'm not big on tidal fishing, and I'm not big on fishing in Florida to start the year out. So this year the schedule, it's not firing me up like it would be if we were starting at Lake Fork again. Even though I sucked it up, I would much rather go and try to catch 40 pounds than go and try to flip reeds all day. You know what I mean? But I feel like I've never fished a tournament at St. Clair, and I love catching big smallmouth. So I'm looking forward to that because I've heard it's just unbelievable, and I've never been there ever. I've been to Saginaw Bay in Michigan, and it's really good. And I've heard St. Clair is just 20 times better. So looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to going to what's it called? In Tahlequah, where Jason Christie's from.
Oh, yeah. 10 Killer.
10 Killer. I'm looking forward to that one.
I've driven by it a million times. That's on my way. Yeah. I drive by it, and I've never fished it either.
Yeah, I've never been there, never seen it. But usually the way I think about things is like where I'm related in Tennessee, like Knoxville, Tennessee. If you go out west, 9 or 10 hours west, 10 Killer is kind of on the same like equator line as Knoxville, and I usually do good in this kind of region, the central band of the United States.
Yep.
And I like fishing in Oklahoma, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It reminds me of Tennessee, but in Oklahoma. Like there's similarities and fish kind of set up the same because of, I guess, how we're positioned on Earth.
So is this your first classic?
Yeah.
So let's dive into that bad boy. How
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I just went and pre-practiced in December. Because I mean, obviously it's off limits now, but in December I went there and pre-practiced. And it's an interesting place. I don't know. I feel like it's going to take some serious weight, kind of like a fork, but everybody's not going to catch them like at fork, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's not a great lake for catching fish for the field, but somebody will catch some serious big ones.
Me some big ones. What's the next question we got coming up here? What crankbait? What pound test are you using?
Okay, so 50, if the water temp's at 50 degrees, and if you're cranking shallow, I think is what you're meaning, like rock, I would either, my personal just confidence is with a MR6, Bill Lewis MR6, or like a DT6 type, that kind of crankbait, and a like a wiggle wart style too. If it's
Have
under,
you been able to fish did you get any ATVs? Have you fished that ATV?
yeah, the square bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that became one of my favorites this year. I was always a different bait, but that thing the way that it went through brush and everything just blew me away.
Yep. I'm like a East Tennessee, similar to, I don't know, like a Lake of the Ozarks, I guess. I've never been to Table Rock, so I don't really know. I'm sure there's a lot of rock to crank. Yeah, I've never been.
Oh, that's
but
my
I've been
place, man.
Yeah, I want to come. I've heard it's awesome. So I crank a lot of rock, and I'm sure there's a lot of rock on Table Rock.
Oh, there's a lot of rock.
So to me, my first go-to crankbait will be like an MR6 style.
Next, Rob, what's your best advice for somebody starting out?
Starting out, like just fishing or tournament fishing?
Yeah, starting out tournament fishing, I'm sure.
Best advice is just go fishing as much as you can, because if you're trying to compete in tournaments, the more practice you can get, the more comfortable you'll be with what that first tournament day will bring toward you. Because, I mean, basically tournament fishing is how well you respond to the day your tournament is on and how fast you can catch fish and how fast you can take the clues that you learned during the day and put them in action and, catch big fish. So just as much time on the water where you can, process information fast will help you the most. So just go fishing as much as you can. How would you target a lake like Lake Hartwell or Lanier right now if you knew the bite was happening out in 40 to 60 in the ditches / channels?
I think I know the answer to this one.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. You just ride around until you find some bait. That's the reason bass will be in a ditch or a channel. Like, you're not going to find a bass if there's no bait around in a ditch. So, I mean, there can be timber and they can, I guess, sit on the timber. I don't know if there's timber at Hartwell like there is Lanier. But, I mean, I would just ride around until bait was present and then start from there. So, if there's no bait around, if you're not 2D in bait or if you're not seeing any bait on your live scope or 2D, like, there's really no point in fishing there for a while.
And then you got to shake that minnow if you want to be a winner.
Maybe. I mean, there's other baits like a spoon right now is really good too because the water temp's down in the 40s. I mean, at least around here. So
on Table Rock, this is Ice Jig. The
Yeah,
ice jig,
I love
yeah.
the ice jig. Like the ice jig and a spoon, and a minnows good, but sometimes like when the water temp gets this low, they like something that's mimicking like a dying shad like that better
Yeah,
than
have you thrown the steel shad? Like any of the
shoot.
steel
Yeah,
shad bladed baits?
yeah.
Those blade baits, I mean, it's probably been the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years that blade baits have really come like a staple in mine because you can just rip them, you can drop them, you can do so much to them. And it's a lot like that. You know, the ice jig's been big around here forever. The bad part about an ice jig is if our fish are suspended in those trees, you snag a lot of ice jigs in them trees.
Yeah.
And
I'm
that
I'm
blade
getting
bait,
a jig though.
do
Trying to
what?
get Jack to make us one, but we'll not talk about that much more.
Well, you need to look up Northland because they own Northland and they make an ice jig.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. If,
nice.
if I went out that door and around the corner, there's probably about 50 new ones that I just ordered that are here right now.
Heck yeah.
So we're doing a photo shoot tomorrow on Stockton Lake, and then we're gonna go to Table Rock on Friday and film. So that's gonna be a good one.
I feel like those ice jigs are huge. Back to this question, honestly, too, and the ditch bite. This time of year, a minnow can be like you don't even have to throw it if all the fish are in these huge just clouds and trains of bait. Like there could be bait for 50 yards straight, continuous, and the bass are just swimming in and out, and you really can't pinpoint a cast to a fish. So you have to throw it in their general direction and snap it and get their attention and spread the bait out so they can see it. And that's why it's very
There's Vince right there saying snap some up
yeah, it's pretty fun.
on an M1, right, Vince? Same question, but for Gunnersville without scope. I see who that. Do you don't even know who that question is from, do you?
No.
Who just got done videoing you on Gunnersville?
Is that really him?
That's Jacob.
Jarred? What the heck is jarred?
Oh yeah, so that's Jake. That's Jacob fishing out of his kayak without a scope.
Simple. So no electronics on Gunnersville without scope. You better find your butt throwing at a bridge piling, either at Browns Creek or one of them big major creeks, where there's just a bunch of shad around. I mean, Randy Howe and Hank Cherry won the Classic around the bridges. So if you don't have scope, just go there and you'll catch them on a crankbait.
All that riprap. All those bridges on Gunnersville got that big chunk of riprap rock around it too.
Yeah, and they're not getting as pressured now with everybody scoping. So I mean, I'm sure you'll catch 30 pounds off one of them bridges. So
well, we are talking about Jacob here.
Yeah. If he threw it, he needs to get an Alabama rig.
Yes, he needs an A rig for sure.
What is it? What are you saying, Ricky? Easy over here.
What other questions we got out there for old Rob G here? Oh, easy on the 30 pounds. You could go catch 30 pounds. It's Gunnersville. Everybody, have you ever not looked at them? Everybody's catching 30.
Yeah, I mean 20. Sorry, guys. 20. But, I mean, the fish in Gunnersville the past year, they're just gotten so big. They're not big. They're not growing like Chickamauga, long, huge fish. They're just getting so healthy because all the bait in that lake, it's unbelievable.
All right.
What do you do when you show up to your starting spot in the tournament? There's 100% more boats on your fish than you expected. Man, that's when you got two options. You either suck it up and try to outfish everybody around you, or you got to go to plan B. And I mean, I've done it both ways. In the opens, I feel like I had to do that about every tournament, is kind of go to plan B and dink and dime around, just catching one here and one there. But
I feel like the opens you probably had playing B, C, D, E with 200 plus boats out there.
1,000%. And you kind of had to just honestly not even get your hopes up on the fish, like a good spot of a good healthy population of fish, as much as you can, like fishing a 100-boat tournament like we do now. But if you're starting on a boat with more boats than you expect, you're just gonna have to get in the mix and try to throw some punches. And if you're not catching any, you better get out of there and give yourself at least an hour or so. And if you ain't catching any and they're jacking them in front of you, that's the worst thing you can do is sit there and keep watching it. You just need to go find your own thing after that. But if you're catching some, you can stay.
I had Cody Meyer on here, a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Cody, veteran but / rookie now. But he was talking about all the decisions that he made in the opens this year. He said it was just crazy. It was like he knew it was meant to be because I made decisions that were just old school or gut. I mean, he said he caught 75% of his fish in the opens this year on a wacky rig Cinco and a chatterbait Zaco.
Yeah,
which is not how you would think that 75% of anybody that was finished second in angler of the year did. You're thinking everybody's going to forward facing sonar, but he's like, no, man, I would look at it and it's just I made the right decisions, and it was just I can't explain it. It just worked out every time that I left the plan.
That's kind of how my opens. Now that I'm thinking about it, like the most recent tournaments are on my mind more, but looking back to when I fished the opens, like I don't think I caught but 2 or 3 bass the whole year on a jig head minnow. Like the fish were so pressured, I didn't even think about, just, going and wrecking them Demikian or tight lining like that. It was all like wacky rig, Nico rig, robo worm on a drop shot, stuff like that. And I can't tell you how many tournaments, like some of the tournaments I did the best in too. Like I didn't even have a plan. I didn't have a spot I wanted to get to. I just put the time in and marked enough stuff to where I thought bass lived and just trusted my gut and my instincts. And I just rode around, and what my gut told me to, whenever it told me to turn and go in that creek and stop on a place or whatnot, I went and did it. And that's the best thing that I ever did was trust in myself, because I feel like it just worked out for the best. I mean, I felt like every time I did that, something good would happen. Like I would catch the biggest fish of the day. Like, that looks good. Let me pull in over there and make a few casts and see what happens. And I'd catch a 4-pounder, and that'd be the biggest fish I caught all day. And it took me from 12 pounds to 15 and a half. I'm just like, holy cow. Like, and
it's a mental game. It just changes everything. Because it's that we go back to that confident thing, not arrogance, not cockiness, but it's like, man, I did that. I made that decision. I went there and it worked out. So I know what I'm doing, I mean, luck, we always say luck has a lot to do with it. I better be lucky than good, but it's one of those things that, and that's what Ricky just said. It's exactly what Cody said, 100%. Every time that he went with his gut, it worked out. He was talking about Leech Lake and how he came around the corner and everybody's out there and they're scoping. I don't know if Ty Al's still on here. I saw he was, but he saw Ty and he just looked over there at the bank. He's like, man, they ought to be over there at the bank. He said he rolls over there, throws that jackhammer out there. Thunk. I mean, first cast, and he said 25 more smallies. He said, he goes, I kid you not. They just followed it to the boat. He said it was just one of those things. It was just meant to be.
Yeah,
but his intuition in all those years of fishing just kind of kicked in. He said, man, this is where I would be if I wasn't out here thinking that they're deep, or if I knew they were out here deep on, with my electronics or whatever. So he just trusted his gut.
Yeah, like another story I have from the opens that's similar to that is Lake Ozarks. I mean, up in your neck of the woods. I mean, the things you do in the fall there is dock fishing and like, I guess, brush and top
Brush
water
piles.
on the bank. Like you're throwing a buzzbait or a plopper down rocky banks,
Plopper City, man.
walls, something like that. You won't believe this, but I found a little like creek, and just the night before the tournament, I caught one on a chatterbait back in here, and I was like, I'm gonna probably there's enough shad around in here where I'm gonna go back and throw my chatterbait around, see if I can catch some just small ones to fill my limit, so I can then go feel confident enough to skip docks. Like I don't want to start fishing docks or fishing brush without anything in the live well, right? So I tied on a frog too. I was like, there's a couple bushes back here in the back, and like it just looks like I could, throw a little frog over and have no lie. I hadn't caught one in the whole week in practice, 5 days of practice on a frog. Hadn't caught one, I don't think, in the whole year on a frog. Tied on a frog because I was like, it just looks right. And every fish I caught, my first 5 fish of the limit that morning were all on a frog on the Lake of the Ozarks. And I'm not talking, I wasn't even throwing it to cover. These fish were like waking on bait, and you'd see like these little thread fin. You know how they like flicker? Like,
oh yeah, you just see that little glimmer.
You can, and it was probably, a foot deep max. Like I had to power pole down and pull my trolling motor up, so I didn't really disturb the water. And I was just I power poled down in the middle of this pocket. I was just casting around, watching them crush this bait. And I would throw my frog over there and lead them to where they were flickering the bait. Just let it sit for a second, literally twitch it twice, and you'd see it V and just suck it in. It was the coolest just day and just instinct kind of thing of me just thinking about what else I could tie on and to fish that for that spot. And like, that's the only reason I top 10 that tournament was that spot, like just calming my nerves because I didn't have a good practice. And it was just
I live here, and I don't think I have ever thrown a frog on LOZ.
Yeah. And
now you're making me want, yeah.
No, people, when I held that up in the top 10 photo gallery for that lake, people were like, you're the craziest. Like, you're so full of crap. You throw a frog on Lake of the Ozarks? Okay. But no lie, I did. I caught a limit for 2 days in a row on a frog.
Here's a tip from a guy that lives in Lake of the Ozarks for your trolling motor in that shallow water. We carry a 2x4 that we cut off about that big.
Mm-hmm.
When you put your trolling motor down, that you put that 2x4 there, sits on her, just keeps it up there, and that's because we're so rocky. Yep, got to get back there in the shallows, but that helps out big time.
It's what I needed for sure.
Well, I think we've been at an hour, buddy. That went. Tayao is my hero too. His social media is the bomb. There's not too many people that's funnier on social media than Ty.
For sure.
Ty sends us a group text message that's like, "Hey guys, can I post this?" And we have to say yes or no because if it's crossing the line or if it's not crossing the line too much.
Some of them he's got are like absolutely hilarious. I want to get Ty, if you're watching, at some point you got to get me one of them sweet hats, those straw hats. I guess it's like a
Vietnamese hat, yeah,
or something. I don't know, but it's sweet. I feel like it would be perfect for summertime ledge fishing or something.
I sent I think what was it? Ty. Oh, it was a video. We needed a video for something, and I'm like, "Hey Ty, I need a video." Oh, Yamamoto is for that Senshuo.
Yeah,
and he sends me, and it starts with him in that hat. It's like.
He needs to get a Yamamoto patch on it.
Oh, yeah. All right, one last question. What lake are you most excited to fish / win? See, that's confidence right there by Adrian.
I want revenge at Lake Fork. I'm excited for 10 Killer, and I'm excited for St. Clair. And that's the only 3 I'm really looking forward to.
Not looking forward to that. You were talking about the frog. What about Mississippi?
I mean, yeah, I like Mississippi River, but I don't love it. You know what I mean?
It can be. It's a title. I mean, you got lock-in. There's a
Like,
lot.
I've always had a good time there, but this past time I went and fished the open there, I got freaking locked out and didn't even get to weigh in one of the days. So that kind of just ticked me off, and I don't like it as much now.
It cost Randy Howell that win this year. I mean, he had the winning bat. He had the winning weight in there and got locked out.
I got locked out too, right there with him. Me, Casey Ashley, Randy Howell, Cliff Pace, and a couple other a couple other of us. It was just horrible. Like the Lockmaster, I'm sorry if you're watching this, but you could have sped up the process way faster than how it worked. But anyway.
Well, and that's one of those things that was Cody. Cody made the decision to leave a little bit early, and he said, otherwise I'd have been right there with Randy and locked out. And when, would have dropped them points. Ty needs to get Randy Howell a haircut for this.
Like I showed up to the lock 2.5 hours before check-in. So I was like, I'm for sure going to be able to make it back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, it took them like 3 hours.
Well, buddy, it's been fun. Looking forward to kicking off the season here shortly. Like I said, you're going to Florida to do a little pre-fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to seeing you at all the events and having some fun. And wishing you nothing but the best of luck. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.